Let's go on that here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's broken. One second.
You like hold the band?
Yeah. Got it. Can you do me a favor? Can you get me a flat mat? Like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like to this one. Okay, word for word. Some trouble there. Huh? So Sutaha Uvacha, Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, Saha, he, Sukadeva Goswami, Upamanstrataha, thus being inquired, Rajna, by the king, Gatayam, in the topics, Iti, thus, Satpatehe, of the highest truth, Brahmarataha, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, Prisham, very much, Pritaha, pleased, Vishnuratena, by Maharaj Parikshit, Samsidi, in the meeting. Okay, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Shuta Goswami said, thus Sukadeva Goswami being invited by Maharaj of the Lord Sri Krishna with the devotees, was very much pleased. Srimad Bhagavatam can be legitimately discussed only among the devotees of the Lord, as the Bhagavad Gita was authoritatively discussed between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord and the devotee respectively. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita, can also be discussed between the scholars and devotees, like Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Otherwise, the real taste of the nectar cannot be relished. Sukadeva Goswami was pleased with Maharaj Parikshit because he was not at all tired of hearing the topics of the Lord and was more and more anxious to hear them on and on with interest. Foolish interpreters unnecessarily tackle the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam when they have no access to the subject matter. There is no use in non-devotees meddling with the topmost two Vedic literatures, and therefore Sankaracharya did not touch Srimad Bhagavatam for commentation. In this commentation on the Bhagavad Gita, in his commentation on the Bhagavad Gita, Sripad Sankaracharya accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but later on he commented from the personalist point of view, personal view. But being conscious of his position, he did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was protected by Lord Krishna, vid Brahma Vaivrata Purana, and therefore he is known as Brahmarata. And Sriman Parikshit Maharaj was protected by Vishnu, and thus he is known as Vishnurata. As devotees of the Lord, they are always protected by the Lord. It is clear also in this connection that Vishnurata should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Brahmarata and no one else, because others misrepresent the transcendental knowledge and thus spoil one's valuable time. Om Gyana Timanandasya Gananjandana Salakaya Chakshurunmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shukta Padakamalam Shingaru Vaishnavam Shah Shirupam Sagojatam Sahagana Raganaptam Vitam Tam Chajivam Savadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saritam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakamitam Shcha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shrimante Bhakti Vikas Swamini Namane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shrimante Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivisheshu Shunivadi Paskata Starine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Suta Uvacha Su upamantrito ragna katayam iti satpate brahmarato brishamprito vishnuratena samsadi. Srila Goswami said, thus Sukadeva Goswami, being invited by Maharaj Parikshit to speak on topics of the Lord Sri Krishna with the devotees, was very much pleased. So, Srila Prabhupada makes, as to be expected, makes a lot of points in the purport. Just mainly the focus here is hearing the Vedic literature, specifically Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, through the proper authority, or through proper sources. Which is critical, even in the topmost stages of Krishna consciousness. It's not that, one on the topmost platform of Krishna consciousness just hears Krishna Katha from like anybody and everyone. We don't see in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela that he went to go and hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Mayavadis or something like that. So that's not the case. So Srila Prabhupada makes that point very clear in the purport, that we have to hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita through the proper sources. And so luckily, we're in the association of devotees, so it's not like we have to go and start from scratch in that sense. That Srila Prabhupada in his purports, and by associating with devotees who are Krishna conscious, it's pretty clear and pretty easy to spot out, who is following properly and who's not following properly, because everything's set there. Coming from Western civilization, it may seem, like it's someone that's very spiritual if, whatever, they do drugs or something like that. There's that talk by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, are drugs spiritual? So sometimes people think that, well, drugs are spiritual because you take them and then you have like amazing revelations and then, you become less egotistic. Your ego dissolves away. But your ego doesn't dissolve away by taking drugs. Your ego increases. It just manifests in a different way. Instead of thinking so materialistically, then you go more into an illusory concept of life, and then you start thinking crazy things that whatever that just like, I've heard so many different things, but someone's crazy on drugs, and then something comes on the TV or something, and then they think that their mind's controlling the TV, or they're making like the sunrise and things like that. So it's just another form of aham nameti, being in the bodily conception of life. So in this particular, one main idea from this translation was a very simple point, but it's also very important. Sometimes, the simple things in Krishna consciousness, we can overlook them and maybe not, maybe just kind of glance over them and think, well, it's not so important or whatever, or like that, or maybe it's not relevant to our life. But it's actually really relevant. And simple point here being made is that Sukadeva Goswami was happy to speak about Krishna. Devotees are happy to speak about Krishna, and they're happy to hear about Krishna. If we're not happy to hear about Krishna, we're not happy to speak about Krishna, then something's the matter. Because the whole point of being Krishna conscious is to think about Krishna, and thinking about Krishna involves speaking about Krishna and hearing about Krishna. If we don't want to speak about Krishna, we don't want to hear about Krishna, then we're not Krishna conscious. So the devotees in the topmost platform, they're very excited to speak about Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Sometimes it's seen also. I've heard different things, but maybe, one may not be so. Well, we shouldn't be under the misconception that just because there's a lot of people present, or maybe one or two people present, or whatever the situation is, that speaking Krishna consciousness in that circumstance isn't fun or whatever. I remember hearing, I think Guru Maharaj was talking about one of his godbrothers, Purnachandra Maharaj, and explaining about that, that he would just be speaking to a couple devotees, 3 or 4, but he was very enthusiastic and always gave them time, even though he was so senior and like that. So, symptom of advanced devotee is that he's willing to speak about Krishna, regardless of how many people are present or what the situation may be. They're free from this fame, adoration, and distinction. So the Srila Prabhupada goes on, and he makes a couple points in this purport. Actually, I'll be honest with you. One point he makes in the purport, I don't know the answer, and I try to look into it. But he makes the point about how Sukadeva Goswami was protected by Lord Krishna, and that's mentioned in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. I know in the Bhagavatam it's mentioned that when Sukadeva Goswami was coming out of the room, Krishna, promised to protect him like that, so because he didn't want to fall into Maya, and Vyasadeva, went to go get him or something like that. But I have no clue, and I couldn't find it of what exactly is being mentioned in this purport. I don't know if anybody else knows or has any glimpse of that.
Look at the commentaries.
I looked at Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but he just mentioned it. That is just meant that he's called, was it Brahma Rata from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana? But that was all I could find. Anyways, I'll have to wait on that one. So, So Prabhupada makes, what does he say here exactly? But, let's see if I can find, But anyways, so he explains. So Prabhupada's explaining here that anyways, these transcendental literatures have to be heard from proper sources, and he mentions the Bhagavad Gita, how that was heard from, discussed between Arjuna and Krishna, and then similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is discussed by Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj Parikshit, and then of course we can expound upon that. So many acharyas, they commented, pure devotees on Vaishnava literature, also in other bona fide sampradayas. Srila Prabhupada, there's all of his purports and commentaries to this literature. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the discussions, so many are there between, Lord Chaitanya's devotees, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing that down and explaining that. And so this is the system. And so in one sense, so we hear from the devotees and they explain it, and so anyways, I wrote some notes there, but I don't remember exactly what they are, but anyways. So the thing is that, Krishna appears where his pure devotees glorify him and speak of him. And that's mentioned there in Shastra, that I don't know the exact Sanskrit quote, but that Krishna explains that he's not here, he's not there, but he's where his pure devotees are glorifying him. And so Krishna, he manifests in that sense. And so when the pure devotees, they speak and they write, and we hear from that speech and that hearing is illuminating. And it clears the darkness of ignorance and establishes Krishna within our hearts, or also shows us the path which we can go to Krishna. You can pull up one verse, whoever has the TV, but pull up Canto 8, chapter, I believe 24. It's the last chapter, and text 50. So this verse, Achaksharan dasya yatha gurnikratas tatash dinasya vidaso buddho guruhu tvam arkadak sarva dasham shamikshano vitor guru gorona swagatim babut satam. So the translation is, as a blind man being unable to see accepts another blind man as his leader, people who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool. But we are interested in self-realization, therefore we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master. for you're able to see in all directions and are omniscient like the sun. So I think there's a whole lot is being said there in that purport. But specifically this first line, so achakshurandasya yata gunikatas. So it's explaining that, people are blind. And there's also similar other verses that Prabhupada quotes that run in the same vein. So the one point is that there's people who are blind and, not literally blind, but they're spiritually blind. That, when they look at the world, what do they see? They see, that life is going on by sex, so they see the animals and that, and life is being reproduced, and then they look, at the stars in the sky, and then they see, the stars are just, whatever. They're different galaxies and suns that were shining millions and billions of years ago, and now this light is hitting us, 3.5 million years later, and, the sun that we have in the sky, it's rotating, and then we have the moon, and like that, it's reflecting the light of the sun, and the cosmos and the creation all happened by a big bang, and when the body dies, that's it. So that's their vision. They're blind. They're spiritually blind. So when they look at the world, this is what they see, and then as a result, then they have so many interesting ways in which they live their life. But then those who can actually see, as Srila Prabhupada makes the point in the purport, this verse is specifically referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it also can refer to the devotees in the sense that they illuminate by their words and by their association, and they explain things properly as how they are. So those who are blind and speculative, they have so many different conclusions about the nature of Krishna, about the nature of God, about the nature of creation, and so those who are blind, if we hear from them about Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, we'll get misconceptions, we'll get confused. We're fortunate that we don't do that, but different people, before coming into contact with Srila Prabhupada's books, they do that, and then they have misconceptions. Just like one person would explain that, that it's not to Krishna you just surrender to, but the unborn, unmanifest within. And Srila Prabhupada commented about this particular individual that he's like a vegetable because he offended Krishna by commenting on the Bhagavad Gita, misleading people. So now he's brain dead. So when people have misconceptions and then they try to comment upon the Bhagavad Gita, they just create more confusion. So the thing is that devotees who are in the Parampara system, they can guide us and explain things in proper light. Also, you can bring up this verse so this is from the 6th canto, chapter 3, text 20. Let me know if whoever's in charge. So 6:3:20. Yeah. This is also a famous verse. The first part is pretty famous. But so Swayambhur Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vayasakir Vayam Dwadashyate Vijam Nino Dharman Bhagavatam Bataha Guyam Vishudam Durbodam Yam Yatwan Ritam Ashnute. And so the translation is Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principles. This is Yama Maharaj speaking. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavat Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord in love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. So this is a devotee speaking on the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, specifically on the path of Bhagavat Dharma. And so this Yamaraj, he's speaking, he makes an important point. Well, go to the Sanskrit again real quick. So many important points he makes. Scroll down a little bit. So this Guyam Vishudam Durbodam, which it's confident, go to the word for word. And I know kind of generally what it means, but Guyam Vishudam. So it's very confidential, transcendental subject matter, which is not easily understood. Durbodam. So it's something it's not so, Krishna consciousness is simple, but sometimes it can be a little complex to understand, or how to apply and things like that. And so it's a confidential secret. And so this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it's a transcendental secret. It's not something now it's widely available. Still it's widely available, but then even though it's widely available, people still don't understand it. Because just by knowing this knowledge, actually, it's not enough to like completely enter into it. Just like you have some theoretical understanding. Because there's probably not so much now in general, but there are people who are scholars of Vaishnava philosophy and things, and they know the scriptures maybe more than some of us. But they don't enter into the transcendental nature of the Lord because they're not approaching it in the right way. You have to approach it through devotional service. So Yamaraj is making the point that this is Guyam Vishudam Durbodam. So this is a confidential secret. And so in the material world, for those who are blind, there's so many different secrets and things like that. And generally a secret also is not something that people want to get out. Like if you have a secret, whatever, there's so many different things. Yeah. They don't want people to know the secret, because if you know that, then it may cause them problems, or it may change the way the world acts or behaves. And anyways, there's so many different things like that, so many different secrets. Generally, people's secrets are, they revolve around, anyway, so many different things come up on YouTube, and unfortunately I'm subject to hear it most of the time, because you have to watch it for 5 seconds before you can, watch the video you're trying to watch. And so they say, they found some amazing thing. Generally it's like free, people found a way to make a lot of money real quick. Usually it's a scam, but then that's generally some type of secret, like that. This, I know the secret how you can, get thousands of dollars free, or whatever. Get free money, get stuff from the government. And even within the spirit, going above that on a bigger level, governments, they have secrets and things like that, and they try to hide those secrets. And most of the time, these secrets aren't really something so crazy. Generally, they may have some good technology, and then trying to hide that from other people, and then people are trying to steal that, or whatever like that. So the thing is that generally, a secret is something that needs to be locked away and kept away. Otherwise, it can cause harm to an individual or whatever, or make someone's life easier. But the thing about Krishna consciousness is that this secret is something that the devotees want to explain, and they want to express, and they want to share it with other people. Just, I believe Mahotsa Prabhu was making that point yesterday about Ramanujacharya. Was he explaining that yesterday? About Ramanujacharya, how he was told by his guru, this is a secret mantra, and then he went and he gave it to everybody. And so his guru told him, well, you'll go to hell for doing that. And he said, "What? It doesn't matter. So many people will get liberated. So what's the harm in that?" So that's the mood of the devotee. They want to share Krishna consciousness with others and explain the secrets and intricacies of Krishna consciousness to those that are qualified. But the basic open secret is that, by taking up to the process of Krishna consciousness, one can become free from the material modes. And the thing is that it's a secret, but at the same time, it's not a secret, because it's a constitutional position of the living entity. Just maybe some secret that, whatever, when your family dies, you get some inheritance, you'll get a couple $1 million or something. So it's something that's your rightful claim. You may not have known about it, but it's there for you. So Krishna consciousness is the greatest treasure, which is available for all living entities. If you can pull up Canto 2, Chapter 4, Text 16. I want to go to something in the purport. Anyways, we all know the verses, they're famous verses, but Prabhupada translate them a little differently. Scroll down. Okay, stop. Anyways, I won't read the Sanskrit for time, but these are famous verses. So this is from the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, "My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore, only for your good, I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only. And I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts, and I shall deliver you. Do not worry anymore. I like this translation. It shines a different light on it. But Krishna is explaining here that he's about to tell Arjuna, the secret. There was a movie back in the day. I don't know if maybe some of you know that. The Secret. It's some big thing. But anyways, pretty much the secret is, just it's maybe some subtle like science. But the thing is, whatever. The whole idea is that if you think good, then good things will happen. But you can think good, but bad things still can happen to you. But anyways, that's not the secret that Krishna is about to tell Arjuna. That, okay, Arjuna, the secret is that, you think positively, and then, that is it. So, because, what to think? Arjuna's in a situation where it's like, think positive things. You're about to kill your teacher, your grandfather, just, be positive. Don't see the good in it. So Krishna didn't explain that to Arjuna like that. Just think positive. Krishna explained him that you surrender unto me and you do what pleases me. And so, whether you want to do it or not, forget all that, but just do what I'm telling you to do. And if you do that, then ultimately, you're going to come out big. You're going to achieve, of course, Arjuna's an eternal associate of the Lord, but Krishna and Arjuna, this pastime's happening to help us and to, help us to realize that, that we don't really have it as bad as Arjuna has it, that we have it a little bit better, and all we have to do is just, whatever, instead of, complaining and moaning, that, we surrender to Krishna and we be happy. Because, none of us, unless somebody does, we can talk about it after class, but I don't think anybody here has to kill their relatives or like go out in that sense and do some crazy things like that. Not that that's crazy, but I don't think any of us are in a situation like that. So Arjuna was in a really tight situation. And so Krishna's explaining that to him and explains all the intricacies of the Bhagavad Gita and tells him that secret. And so this, secret, it's, going back to the main point of, again, this wisdom can only be given by devotees. This secret is Krishna consciousness, that by engaging in the process of devotional service, that one can actually become greater than God. Srila Prabhupada explained that the Mayavadis want to merge into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but by engaging in devotional service, one can become greater than God. And we see that specifically in this month with Kartik, with Mother Yashoda, that she's binding up Krishna. Of course, Krishna let her do that, but Krishna became submissive to her love. And there's so many instances of Krishna becoming subservient to the order of the desires of the devotees out of love, out of attraction. And there's so many instances of that. So that's like one amazing thing about Krishna consciousness, actually, that Krishna becomes submissive to his devotees, and not realistically speaking, but that's like one aspect of Krishna consciousness I actually like the most. I'm not at that platform, just to say. Anyways, that matters. But Krishna, it's amazing actually, because God is great. He creates so many things. It's like amazing, and He can do so many wonderful things. That's amazing also, and we discussed that. But at least for me, what's more amazing is that how someone who's all powerful, all knowing, and completely inconceivable becomes submissive to his devotees and renders service unto them and interacts in that way. It blows my mind when I think about it. And it's truly amazing. And Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he gave this class on this Bhakta Vatsala. I think it's like some 9 parts or something. I was listening to that a couple days ago, and one of my favorite ones to listen to is that part 3. In part 3, he mentions about Gopakumar, and then this whole narration of this Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which was spoken by or given to us by Sanatana Goswami, pretty much states that. The whole the whole central point of that is just devotional service. Who's getting Krishna's mercy the most? And so the one amazing aspect of that is Gopakumar, that Krishna loves his devotees so much that that he comes down himself as his guru and he gives them the instructions about how he can come back to him. So that's pretty amazing. And there's so many different aspects like that, and just Vaishnava literature of Krishna just becoming submissive to his devotees. There's also that pastime, I didn't write it down or prepare for it, but there's one Acharya who you may know this also, but there's one of the verses, I believe this, where Krishna says that he carries what his devotees lacks or something like that. And then the Acharya was saying, well, Krishna doesn't personally do it, that, it's just his energies or something. So he kind of like wrote that down in his commentary. And then when he was gone or went to go take his bath, two boys came or something like that. I'm maybe messing up all the details, to see his wife, and they told him something along the lines that that your husband had like whipped us or hit us or something. And then am I saying it properly?
Yeah, although
I don't remember exactly.
mixed up with a similar incident with Jayadev Goswami.
There's that one there too, but yeah, please correct me.
I'm getting now fuzzy with the details. myself.
Oh, anyways, but from what I remember, anyways, there was what's it called? Anyways, hopefully I'm not remembering something and it's not proper. But so these two boys came and they were explaining how that he actually had like hit us or something, and then the wife was like, "How could you do such a thing to these two boys?" And he was explaining, "Well, I didn't like hit them or something like that." But anyways, but the point of it is that the devotee was well. Anyways, now I don't remember the conclusion. You remember the conclusion of this exactly? Because I'm mixing things up too now, I feel.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to say it, because there was something that I remember that there's a little something esoteric.
Yeah.
Jayadev Goswami wrote, and he was a little hesitant to it.
Yeah.
But then Krishna
To write that.
writes it.
Yeah.
But then there is also this story, which I don't remember from whom or where.
Yeah.
That happened, and I'm not able to recall it. Right?
Yeah. Anyways, maybe Mahotsa Prabhu knows it, but he's not
I
here.
don't know.
Anyways, maybe he'll come later and he can correct me. But anyways, for this it's like almost there. But anyways, I came in and lost it. So this devotee was explaining like that, and then they would like, how could you hit these young boys, this and that, like what you do. Anyways, there's some conclusion to it, but I forget the conclusion.
The conclusion is probably that the devotee cut Krishna by
Oh yeah, editing that verse.
editing that verse out, and something like this.
Yeah.
And something in that regard. But then Krishna is coming and providing all these things,
Yeah.
so that way he's corrected of that
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, thank you. And then there's also too the instance of the Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, when they're in the woods of Vrindavan, and then I forget, one of them wants to cook for the other, and so Radharani comes and she brings all these different ingredients for them. Huh?
Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami was the
Cook for
Sanatana Goswami. Okay, thank you. So then Radharani brings all these different ingredients for them for Rupa Goswami to cook with. So that's the transcendental secret of Krishna consciousness. And anyways, it takes a lot to get to that point. But the thing is that it's possible to make advancement towards that. And maybe we may not get served by Krishna directly, but we can help Krishna serve his devotees. Not that we're aspiring to be served by Krishna, because that's that's why we're in the material world. Because we want to be served by Krishna. We want to be better than Krishna. If you can bring up also this from the Bhagavad Gita, you maybe just can click this link here and it'll take you there. Yeah, just click it. Okay, go to 68. Just swipe a couple. Okay, just go to the translation. Let me see what time it is. So, for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and in the end he will come back to me. And then the next verse. Probably will quote these two often also. Next. There is no servant in the world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So Krishna is further explaining that, by explaining this process of Krishna consciousness, that, he's saying it himself, that it's pretty like, not anything locked and set, but if you engage in the process of Krishna consciousness, specifically in spreading Krishna consciousness and assisting in the Sankirtan movement, then the Krishna's going to make sure that something good happens at the end of it all. You know, you're not going to be like the loser that, you know, whatever, I gave my life to, like, you know, distributing Prabhupada's books or something, and then it's like, you know, I lost. You know, there's so many people in the material world, they give their life to some company or whatever. They give their life to so many different things. And then they feel empty at the end of it because there's nothing there to get from it. You know, you know, serve some company for your whole life or whatever. And then when it's time to go, it's time to go. That's it. Or maybe they just fire you before it's time to go so they don't have to pay you off or whatever. So the thing is with Krishna consciousness is that the more that you give, the more you try to surrender, it definitely all pays off in the end. There's no doubt about that. Krishna is explaining it himself in the Bhagavad Gita. And if we don't have faith in that, then we can look at those who have actually done that. And then we can ask them and see. You know, there's so many senior devotees around that have given themselves to the Krishna conscious movement. Just like I was talking with, maybe it was Mitravan Prabhu the other day, but just about Charodeshana Prabhu, that he's surrendered so much on book distribution and things like that. And, you know, at the end, there were so many devotees coming to see him and, you know, chanting and like that and, you know, chanting, trying to serve him in that sense of just keeping an auspicious atmosphere of glorifying Krishna. I remember when we came in also, too, he had the Krishna book at the foot of the bed. And they had the picture of like that looking at Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was chanting there. And so we can see, I mean, you know, he gave himself to distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, gave his youth and things like that. And Krishna definitely reciprocated with them at the end. And I mean, that's the perfection of life. I mean, that we can, you know, I mean, so many things are perfection of life. And perfection of life right now is like go on a marathon and do a lot of books. And the perfection of life is to assist with that and to engage in devotional service. But then, as Prabhupada would say, that big test comes at the time of death to remember Krishna. So that's the perfection of leaving one's body, is that devotees are there chanting Hare Krishna and helping to one remember Krishna at the time of death. And Krishna definitely, that's definitely what was going on there at that time. So I was thinking about that and talking about that, but it's just like it's really amazing actually. And so even though Charodeshana Prabhu was, you know, I mean, he was in Atlanta, but then still that atmosphere of Vrindavan was invoked. The devotees were coming and chanting the holy name. Because even too, you can be, you know, leaving your body in Vrindavan, and then you can get taken out of Vrindavan. And then, you know, that's actually happened to people. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just, you know, I don't know, that's Krishna, that's how Krishna arranges it. But you know, it's not that just because you're in Vrindavan that therefore, you know, like that. There's a benefit to being in Vrindavan, but it's not that, you know, you can, you know, whatever, just like stake your claim in Vrindavan. But that atmosphere can be invoked anywhere. And so Krishna can make that arrangement for devotees that are giving their life and surrendering. So we can take inspiration from that and we can see that and we can push forward with that. And yeah, there may be so many different things there. Generally, from what I've seen, sometimes devotees in Krishna consciousness, they may have some struggles, they have some doubts or whatever, but we have to keep putting up the fight, you know. Not that we feel like, you know, whatever, this thing or that thing happens, so therefore it's like, whatever, you know, I give up Krishna consciousness, I can't do it. But we have to, you know, keep going on, even if there's some struggling there, and keep trying to take inspiration from the process of Krishna consciousness and from the association and get them from the devotees and get the mercy of the devotees and the spiritual master also. So there's so many different slokas and verses by which we can get inspired from Krishna consciousness and which hold you know, strength and shakti which we can take from. And we may all differently be attracted to different verses, different prayers, different things that Srila Prabhupada said or devotees tell us. But now, of course, it's the marathon. It's a time to lock into that. But specifically, at least for myself, when you know, I was out on book distribution a lot, there was a lot of different verses and then different points in my life also. Verses or prayers or slokas or classes or whatever, which really attracted me and really spoke to me personally and gave me some inspiration there. So we should find those things and we should remember those things as we go about our day or go about our services or whatever it is. And on Marathon, there's so many different slokas and things that we can get inspiration from. I know there's one class always I used to listen to out on book distribution when I would travel for years and years on end. It's one, I think it's a disappearance lecture by Srila Prabhupada that he gives on his spiritual master. And so I found a lot of inspiration from that, and so I would hear that a lot regularly. And so we can hear that and we can get inspiration from that, our favorite verses, our favorite slokas, or whatever they may be. And we can rest assured that, that by doing this sacrifice, because life is actually meant for sacrifice, we're supposed to give, our energy or whatever we have, whether that's, time, money, intelligence, we're supposed to give all those assets that we have or that are valuable to Vishnu, to his devotees, and to be engaged in his service. And so if we do those things, it's all going to pay off, and it's going to be a big payout. People, are fired up about whatever these back in the day, the COVID checks. People got whatever $2,000 or something, $3,000, something like that. So the thing is that it's going to be a lot bigger of a reciprocation than some $3,000. And so that's what's going on in Krishna consciousness. And then we can see too that with Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit, that he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam, he surrendered, and Krishna reciprocated with him greatly. So Krishna will reciprocate with all of us differently and in different aspects, because we all have our little individual journeys going back to Krishna, on the way to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada wrote that book. But we can take inspiration, and we can see in our own lives on a day-to-day basis that Krishna will always protect us, Krishna will always save us, and will always help us. Specifically in this verse is being mentioned Brahmarataha and Vishnurataha. So Krishna protected and helped Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit in the womb, he protected him. So Krishna will also similarly protect us. Krishna protects his devotees. He will protect our Krishna consciousness and will help us. And so, anyways, we can get inspiration from all these different things and push on and be fired up in Krishna consciousness, and see how we can meditate, or at least I'll be meditating about how Krishna will send different individuals to you to take Srimad Bhagavatam set somehow or other. And in that way, it's like Mahotra Prabhu did so many Bhagavatam sets yesterday. How many? 21 now? Yeah, I like that. So 21's a good number, especially with Bhagavatam sets. It was actually, this is the last point I'll make, and then we'll just end there. Well, if someone has one question, but we have to end at 8:30. But I was reading in an article the other day. I don't know if you've read it yet. Dayananda Prabhu, and there's a journal that's being released, I guess, twice a year about Varnashram. And so this devotee, Dayananda Prabhu, he talks about the history of. It's actually a really good read actually about Varnashram, and about how important it is for spreading Krishna consciousness and preaching Krishna consciousness, and that how it's sacrifice, and it is a part of the Yuga Dharma. And so he analyzes it in there about the history of ISKCON and book distribution and things like that. But anyways, he makes the point about how previously so many unimaginable things couldn't be imagined. Like devotees initially, back in the day, they were thinking, how to distribute, like these magazines. It was like a thing, and then, like they would go out and get like a quarter, and then to distribute big books was like a big, huge thing. Distribute a Krishna book. It was like, my God, like, people were thinking, like Guru Maharaj has mentioned so many times, but people would think that person was like empowered, and it was like nectar. I remember the first time I distributed a Bhagavad Gita, I was like rolling on the ground practically, a hardback Bhagavad Gita. And so, but things progress, and so then like that, and then it goes. The history's there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing now, but then eventually it gets to the airports, and then Tripura Maharaj and his crew are distributing so many books, and they had the 100 Club, which was 100 Bhagavad Gitas in a day, and then Charodeshana Prabhu does 200, I think 212. Like Bigam Maha in one day, staying out for like 24 hours. He told me, actually, I'll say a couple of things about Charodeshana Prabhu, and then we can end there. We'll get to the point. But Charodeshana Prabhu, I remember one time he was saying, I used to always look forward coming here to Atlanta on the Panihati Festival, because Charodeshana Prabhu would speak. And he would just speak for a little bit, but when he always spoke, it was like really powerful. It was just like, he was like cracking out the modes of material nature, and really spoke to you on the spiritual platform. But he was explaining about how that he got up early that morning, chanted all of his rounds, attended Mangalarti, stayed out, came back the next day, chanted his rounds like that, or attended Mangalarti like that. He stayed out for 24 hours. And one time, Charodeshana Prabhu was speaking to me some years ago. A devotee introduced me to him, and he was explaining to me about that. how, when we distribute these books, we have to make it very clear that, that there's material love and there's spiritual love. So material love, that you experience it. It feels that there's some lacking. It's dissatisfying. It's contaminated by so many different things. But these books talk about spiritual love and about a love that doesn't decrease. It is always ever increasing. And so they explain the difference between those two. And then these books talk about spiritual love, and that's like what you're looking for. So he was impressing upon me and another devotee at the time that we have to make it very clear what these books are talking about, and that these are what these books are offering to people. So in his time, he took book distribution to further heights. So the devotee in this article makes the point that similarly Mahotsa Prabhu with the Srimad Bhagavatam sets he's distributing is taking book distribution to another level. So book distribution is increasing more and more and more. And so amazing things are happening, and we have to stay on point and stay on point and stay connected and stay firmly fixed to the process of Krishna consciousness in order to keep receiving that mercy and distributing that mercy. And so I am always interested to hear all these amazing things and seeing that. So all glories to all your service. So anyways, we could just end there now because you all have to distribute books and take prasadam and all those things. So, you have a question? Huh?
No, not a question.
Or a comment, sorry.
This Brahma Vaivarta Purana,
Yes.
Srila Jiva Goswami explains in Tattva Sandarbha, section 29,
Oh, thank you.
that as described in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, the words Vyasa Sunam, son of Shri Vyas, indicates that Shukadeva was untouched by Maya since his very birth because of the blessings of Shri Krishna.
Okay.
That's all that's stated. I don't have the exact reference in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, but we have commentary from Jiva Goswami
Yeah.
in Tattva Sandarbha, section 29.
Good. Thank you for that. Okay. So, all right. We're going to end there because like that. So anyways, sorry. So Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.